The 10th Five-Year Development Plan has completed its fourth year since the start of work on its targets and initiatives. During this short period, the plan managed to exceed some of its targeted indicators, including the significant growth of the GDP at current prices during the period 2021 through 2023, with an average increase of more than 12%, reaching approximately 40.7 billion Omani Riyals by the end of 2023, surpassing the average targeted value by 38%. As for the GDP at constant prices, it recorded growth with an average of about 4%, reaching around 37.7 billion Omani Riyals, surpassing the average targeted value by approximately 4%. By the end of the third quarter of 2024, the GDP at current prices recorded a growth of more than 2%, surpassing 30.6 billion Omani Riyals and more than 28.1 billion Omani Riyals at constant prices. This came due to the growth of both oil and non-oil activities, recovery of the economy from pandemic impacts, and government measures and initiatives in this regard. Data from the National Center for Statistics and Information indicates that the inflation rate measured by the Consumer Price Index averaged 1.7% during the first 3 years of the five-year plan, which is below the targeted average of about 2.8% by the end of November of the previous year. The inflation rate recorded a decrease reaching about 0.6%. In regards to the state's general budget performance, revenues increased from 8.5 billion Omani Riyals in 2020 to 12.674 billion Omani Riyals by the end of 2024. On the other hand, public expenditure decreased from 12.9 billion Omani Riyals to 12.134 billion Omani Riyals. Meanwhile, public debt decreased to 14.4 billion Omani Riyals by the end of September of the previous year, representing 34% of the GDP after it was about 68% in 2020. Data shows a variation in the performance of economic diversification sectors during the elapsed period of the 10th Five-Year Development Plan. Some sectors achieved the targeted growth, such as manufacturing, transport and logistics, tourism and agriculture. However, in terms of the targeted contribution percentage of these sectors to the GDP, they were not able to achieve it during that period, except for agriculture and mining sectors.
One is growing fast compared to what was planned in 2020. Of course, 2022 was the best year, and that's because the higher oil price. 23 it was also as well balanced year. 24 maybe a little lower in the way of the growth, but it's an average of the last 5 years. We are much above, higher than what was planned earlier.
In terms of the labor market and employment, the number of Omanis working in the private sector reached nearly 414,000 workers, with a growth rate of 5% by the end of the third quarter of the past year on an annual basis. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate remained relatively stable, reaching 3.6% by the end of November of the same year.
5 years back, if you see the Oman, they diversified their business beyond of the oil. There are a lot of heritage and cultural and hospitalities in this country. And it's also about me. I'm also may diversify my business to go party in hotels, investors. And due to that, there are a lot of opportunity came in Oman.
The performance of the monetary and banking sector indicators continued to improve, with domestic liquidity increasing by an average of nearly 8%, reaching 24.8 billion Omani Riyals by the end of October of the past year. The total deposits in the banking sector also increased by an average of 8%, reaching about 32 billion Omani Riyals. Additionally, the total credit balance granted by local banks rose by an average of over 4%. Meanwhile, the Muscat Securities Market Index saw an average increase of 5.5%. Within the balance of payments, the current account has witnessed significant improvements, far exceeding its targeted performance by the end of the plan. The trade balance surplus increased by more than 3% by the end of October of the past year, surpassing 6 billion Omani Rials due to the growth of the exports and imports of goods. As for foreign direct investment, it exceeded 26.6 billion Omani Rials by the end of 2024, attributed to ongoing efforts to improve the business and investment environment. As a result of these indicators and figures, Oman regained its investment-grade credit rating as Standard & Poor's, Fitch and Moody's upgraded Oman's credit rating to a stable and positive outlook. Significant importance was given to the 10th Five-Year Development Plan, as it is considered the first executive plan for Oman Vision 2040. It serves as the umbrella under which the implementation of the vision's enablers, proposed initiatives and policies take place. Despite its approval during the peak of the financial and economic crisis that affected countries worldwide, the Sultanate of Oman continues to achieve its ambitious goals and plans for a sustainable future and economic prosperity.